Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the parasite of the show, Rick Tex. You're listening to Text Messages Resurrected. We broadcast out of Elk River, Minnesota, and today is February 19th, 2019. A little easy to remember it. 2/19/2019. Rather interesting date. I guess technically it had to be the 20th month and the 19th day to be equivalent to the year 2019. But either way, it is a bit of irony, bit ironic, I should say. All right, so yeah, we got quite a bit of news here, or important things to profess to you, the ladies and gentlemen at home. So what we want to tackle, well, first of all, we're probably going to we're getting an Elgato cam link, and then what that will allow us to do is to film in 1080p, and then we can synchronize that up with the microphone automatically in OBS Studio. So right now we're manually synchronizing it, and to do that we need to record at a lower quality, video quality. So because if we had a higher video quality, the editor would be choppy, and then we wouldn't be able to synchronize it. I mean, it'd be a crapshoot. It'd be very difficult. So if once we get the cam link, then we can automatically synchronize them, then we can film with the higher video. So we're excited for that. We're definitely looking forward to being able to bring the show at a high level, maybe even a microscopic level too. But that's neither here nor there. But sometime. All right. So what we wanted to discuss today is see, what happens is a lot of the drug companies and the pharmaceutical companies in America, what they do is they'll usually see in public universities, publicly funded, taxpayer funded, and private universities. They'll do a lot of the research and studying and find pills or alleged cures for diseases. And then the pharmaceutical company will buy that from them. And then they'll be able to put a patent on that particular product for 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it's supposed to be. I don't remember what it is. I mean, utility patent, maybe 20 years or something. But then after that, you know, the generics come out, and then the price of the drug takes a nosedive. But what ends up happening, though, with some of these companies is they'll buy the rights to sell a certain product, and then the price will go up tremendously from, in the case of one company, they bought a drug called Niacor, and the price was hiked from $32 to $295. So there's a bit of a jump. It's prescribed to people that have high cholesterol. And then, of course, you know, the doctors get a kickback and everything too. And that purchase was done back in 2017. But a case that was probably more common or more known was an individual by the name of Martin Shkreli. A pharma bro is what his alias was. He actually has a YouTube channel that talks about stock investing. Well, he used to. Now I guess he's in jail. But he had a YouTube channel about investing in stocks and what you need to look for if you're going to analyze companies and how much time you should spend and how you can make an Excel spreadsheet to evaluate the value of the company. And he had some pretty interesting stuff on there. I mean, he definitely seemed like a bright enough guy. I mean, yeah, he became a millionaire, so he must have something going on upstairs. But yeah, he seemed like an okay guy. But what he did is he bought this drug for people, HIV or AIDS patients, whatever it was. And then the price of it basically went up by orders of magnitude. So people got upset over that, and then they called him up for it. And then the feds were able to put down some penalties or crimes on him that weren't really related to that drug company, but they were able to use that instance and paint him as a bad person, as a villain in society and in public. When in all reality, basically every pharmaceutical company does exactly what he did, and they probably do it on, much worse levels too, and they probably do it more prevalently as well. So, you know, the fact that he got blamed and put in jail for some fraudulent case that wasn't even related to that drug crime or whatever, you know, the pharmaceutical company that he was running, that definitely, it was a bit suspect. But sometimes you always had to wonder, because I mean, a lot of individuals, especially people involved in the bureaucratic nature of government, are usually involved in some kind of, not always, but maybe 50-50 involved in some kind of chicanery or bamboozlement. So whenever, like Martha Stewart, for example, got convicted for some insider trading, which is probably less than 2% of what basically any high-end stock trader does. Hedge fund manager or mutual fund manager or whatever. So, but the fact is, the pharmaceutical companies, they essentially, yeah, they do have a division of research and everything, but probably most of their time and efforts and money are spent into lobbying government and writing laws, probably to extend their patent time. But they're generally not out for the general public, is what the general message is. And that's just one alarm that we want to set off tonight. See, one of the problems is if some, natural foods, not always, but organic natural foods, you'll hear, say, garlic is touted as hearing this, that, and the other thing, or it's great for this and that. And one of the problems is natural food industry can take advantage of that and can basically pull the wool over your eyes, just the way the pharmaceutical industry can too. Because the pharmaceutical industry, the profit margins on drugs are significantly higher than if they were to run some plantation and grow garlic roots. So that's why generally worse people migrate to the pharmaceutical industry, because the profit margins are higher and they have more potential of getting money, basically. Even if you buy stocks in Abbott Labs or Merck or Vioxx or Viagra or whatever, you're basically supporting that industry. And pretty much anyone with a 401k is probably in a circuitous way supporting the pharmaceutical companies. But the reality is, if you think ginger or something or oranges are extremely healthy and great for you, and then you have your own orange orchard and sell oranges and sell orange juice or whatever, not the sugar water orange juice, but actual orange juice with the pulp and everything. And then you start to fund these studies that say orange juice is good and it's great and everything. It's going to look a little suspect. And I'm sure the Orange Juice Growers Association will definitely have more proclivities towards spreading news and research that is positive of the effects of consuming orange juice. Oh yeah, if you read stuff about orange juice rots your teeth, it's bad for you, it spikes your blood sugar, there's no fiber in it, it's collects in your kidneys or whatever, then yeah, they're probably not going to want to perpetuate those studies. So the reality is, the pharmaceutical industry, and basically any industry in general, you definitely need to be careful of the source of information. I mean, I go back to that a lot. We try to analyze things from a common sense perspective, self-experimentation, and then analyze the source of the information and why they're espousing that. Because back in the days, there's the food pyramid, and that was funded by the dairy growers, the dairy farmers, just the dairy industry. And then, of course, they said, you need to have 8 cups of milk per day, or all kinds of cheese or butter and all this other stuff too. But a lot of people don't even have the lactase to break down the lactose inside milk and cheese and everything, and sour cream. So for them, it's kind of pointless to eat any kind of dairy. And in fact, it's probably detrimental for them too. A lot of those people probably have problems eating hard cheese as well, and butter, even though hard butter and hard cheese are mostly fat. They still are probably missing the other important enzymes to break the lipid, to break down a lot of the fats inside the dairy products. But as far as the pharmaceutical industry goes, I mean, you see it all the time. So-and-so buys this drug company, then the type of drug, and shoots through the roof. Or once the patent wears out, then the generic comes out and the drug is 1/100th of the cost. So, I mean, that really tells you what's actually going into the price of drugs, or to the price of manufacturing them. I mean, it's just all synthetic derivatives of probably some petroleum-based products. So it's really not, just not a very good idea. Usually what I try to do is, if a certain ingredient claims to help with this ailment, I'll try to find it in its natural bioavailable state, whether it's a plant or an animal or a legume or whatever the case may be, if it's a berry or something. So it's usually, I mean, it can get expensive though if you're trying to buy organic blueberries or organic pasture-raised chicken and all those types of things as well. But I mean, you pretty much, not always, But if you really look into things and research matters for yourself and try to find good, reliable sources, and lots of sources too. Yeah, Wikipedia is a great source of information. But there's also a lot of other ones that are also available too. You know, once you start doing a deep dive in a certain subject matter, so it's important just to get a variety there, multifarious sources of information. So with that being said, we're coming to the conclusion of this show, ladies and gentlemen. The reality is, I'll always be very, very cautious, even dealing with over-the-counter medication, not just medication, but over-the-counter pills in general, because it doesn't really cost much to manufacture them, and they're basically, I mean, they're just like any other corporation. They're just there to make a profit, and if that means having a sick consumer, then so be it. Oh yeah, the product has to work to a certain extent, but I mean, not enough to cure you long term. They generally cure the symptoms, not the causes. So that's why we try to steer clear of them. We certainly don't want to advocate for the overusage of pharmaceuticals. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us this evening. We'll be back with a very important show later on. We thank you, and we hope you'll tune in for that. Have a good one.